Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille show. Looking forward to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille network. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. Today's show is going to be a look ahead to what we can expect. I hopped on John Blair's Twitter Live yesterday and offered some perspective. Huge fan of John Blair. If you're watching today, John, let us know. And he did a Twitter Live yesterday that I hopped on in the evening. I enjoyed following him and listening to him do election recap. I want to relay to you Carol Thorpe's comment from yesterday. Carol Thorpe, if you're watching, let us know. I thought the comment that you did yesterday on Chief Brackney was excellent. Absolutely excellent, Carol. Facebook is laying off, Judah, was the headline 11,000 people? Yeah, more than 11,000 people. Did you see that, Judah?
I did.
More than 11,000 people. Remember when Facebook, now Meta, was the absolute darling? Facebook is the F in FANG. The FANG acronym for those tech stocks, that's the F.
Yeah.
How the mighty often fall.
No doubt.
We'll talk Josh Throneberg and Bob Good. It was not a close race. I think I can say that without offending anyone. And that's applicable. Would you say not, Judah?
Yeah, it's definitely applicable. I don't know that Throneberg...
Without offending, you can say it was not a close race.
I don't think Throneberg had a chance. I mean,
we said that on the show.
And it didn't have anything to do with him.
No.
Just the
district is a bit gerrymandered.
I don't think that matters in this case.
Ooh, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that to start the show. I want to hear your thoughts on that. I respect them. Stephanie Rhodes, hello, and welcome to the program. Judah Wickower, things are looking good on my end. We can rock and roll when you're ready, sir.
All right. Quiet on the set.
Guys, good Wednesday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. Thank you kindly for joining us. Our audience is Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, Commonwealth Country, and the world on the I Love CVille network that broadcasts on every social media platform known to mankind. Long-form content from a Charlottesville and Central Virginia's perspective. Today we'll talk the fallout or the results of election night from a Virginia standpoint. We'll talk about them from a Central Virginia standpoint. I'm going to ask you guys this question. What's next for politics in Virginia next year and in the short term? What's next for politics in Virginia in Albemarle County and in the city of Charlottesville? The year ahead is incredibly important in many races that matter locally. City of Charlottesville Council, 3 spots of 6 are up for re-election in 1 year. Charlottesville City, the council. The Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, 3 spots, half the board, 3 of 6 up for re-election in a year. And the Albemarle County School Board, the school board has 7 seats on it, and there are 4 spots up for re-election on the Board of Supervisors of Albemarle County. And potentially, you have a majority on the a majority with the school board on the horizon to be determined. So we'll talk about that on the show. I think the entire country is going to be following, love him, hate him. You certainly know he's there, and his name is Donald Trump. He's going to make an announcement on the 15th of November I spoke about this on John Blair's Twitter Live yesterday, and John, if you're watching, you did a heck of a job on Twitter yesterday. Love him or hate him, you know Donald Trump is there. And Trump has promised on November 15th that he will make a significant announcement with the expectation is that he is going to run again for president. So if someone of his brand recognition or divisiveness makes an announcement like this on the 15th of November that he's running for president, the news cycle will be consumed by that news, and I believe it will drive significant engagement at the polls next year, because individuals who are kind of on the fence about voting, disinterested from a civic standpoint, may become very interested with Trump dominating the news cycle for an entire year. So we'll talk about that today on the show. I'll bring up Carol Thorpe's comment on Dr. Rachel Brackney, the former police chief of Charlottesville City, now suing the city for wrongful termination, alleging she was fired for being a black woman. Carol Thorpe's comments from yesterday, I found they resonated with me, so I want to relay them again to you, the viewers and listeners. We'll talk about the World Cup. The World Cup is now about 11 days away. November 20th, the World Cup starts. It finishes on the 18th of December. The World Cup has a tremendously positive impact on Charlottesville and Albemarle County in Central Virginia, from driving folks to local watering holes and local businesses to watch the World Cup, to spend their dollars. Three Notched Brewery, one of my favorite places in Ix Park, currently has the largest TV I have ever seen in my entire life set up inside its brewery. It is absolutely massive. It is the largest TV I've ever seen. And the influence behind setting up this extremely large TV, which is on the far end, kind of, if you've been into Three Notch at Ix Park, it's by the wall of windows. It's covering the wall of windows over by the bathrooms at Three Notch Brewery inside. It's massive. It's ginormous, and it was done, it was integrated or implemented because of the World Cup on the horizon, as Three Notch makes a push to be an epicenter for viewership at watching the World Cup. So I want to talk about the impact the World Cup could have on Central Virginia. It's a busy show. Why don't we welcome Judah Wickhauer to the program on a two-shot, the jack of all trades. Good afternoon, my friend.
Good afternoon.
Relay to the viewers and listeners the results of the 5th Congressional District, Josh Thronberg and Bob Good, if you could, please, sir.
Well, let's see. We've got
and let's also
Bob
make sure
Good.
we're balanced here with our shots after you relay those results to the viewers and listeners.
Bob Good had 58% of the vote with 174,316 votes, while Josh Thronberg ended up with 42%, which came out to about 126,000.
So we're looking at a delta in the 5th Congressional Congress, Bob Good, Josh Thronberg, of 16%. Mm-hmm. That is a landslide victory for the incumbent Bob Good, a landslide victory. We've had Josh Thronberg on the I Love CVille show.
Yep.
He's a kind man. He was well prepared. He had all the right things to say. He ran a quality campaign. I said earlier this year that name recognition would be an issue for Josh Thronberg. I said that many did not know his personal brand or his name, Josh Thronberg's, and because of that lack of personal brand recognition, it was a candidate not many folks knew.
Yeah.
The road to victory for the Democrats in the 5th was going to be arduous and difficult.
Probably impossible.
Perhaps impossible.
I've read
There was
the-
a reason Bob Good was not doing any debates. He knew he didn't have to.
Yeah.
And he also had the value, you jump in here, the value of being an incumbent, which is significant recognition.
Yeah. I mean, he's in this is a red district. Charlottesville might not be red, but everything around it is red. And, yeah, Josh Thronberg did the best he could. I have read that the Democratic Party didn't support him with a lot of money, so a lot of people may have missed his messaging, missed his brand, not known who he was going into the ballot box. So I think he just he would have had a hard time no matter what.
Vanessa Parkhill is watching the show. She's the queen of Earlysville. She says the incumbent almost always has the advantage. Vanessa, well said. Never underestimate the value of being an incumbent and the brand recognition that comes with it. Bob Good had that. Neither Judah nor I surprised that Thronberg lost. The 16% margin of defeat is significant. Relay the total votes again to the viewers and listeners. Then we'll go into what we think is going to happen next year. Go ahead.
Total votes were almost 301,000 altogether, split to about a little over 174,000 for Good and over 126,000 for Thronberg.
So that's a landslide. That's a landslide. What surprised me was the margin of victory, the landslide nature of it. I thought it would be a little closer. Now, what's next? I don't know if you agree with me. You often disagree with me, which I appreciate that. 6 days, Trump has a press conference, has a rally. Expectation he's going to announce, run for presidency.
Yeah, I would guess. I don't. Is it really surprising? Although I have been seeing that the people that he is personally backed in this race have not been doing so well.
Yeah.
So maybe his
influence.
Yeah, his personal credit is
his equity.
His political credit is
his political capital.
Yeah, capital is running out.
His social platform here's a headline for you. Shares of Truth Social fall after Trump's candidates underwhelm in midterm elections. Trump has a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company, and Truth Social shares are down because the candidates he backed didn't perform well.
Yeah.
Regardless, this news in 6 days, if he announces a presidency run, will dominate the news cycle. Dominate the news cycle. Yeah. And I mentioned this on John Blair's Twitter space, his Twitter Live last night. I would expect it's going to drive engagement at the local level. And let's think about next year from a Charlottesville and Albemarle County standpoint. Next year is an off year. By off year, you don't have a presidential race next year, and you don't have a governor's race. You also don't have a congressional race next year. So it's truly a local elections type of year. So usually off years, engagement is down and low. So if Trump makes this announcement, I would think it's going to rally a lot of people who otherwise would not be voting in off years to, in fact, vote. So that's kind of influence this guy has from a volatility, moving the needle, divisiveness, brand recognition standpoint, whatever the heck you want to call it. And next year is massive. It's massive. And why it's massive is for the following reasons. You are seeing these crucial talking points relevant in every household. And those crucial talking points that are relevant in every household are the public school issue, transportation at public school, violence at public schools, curriculum at public schools, transgender at public schools, teacher quitting at public schools. Those 5 talking points are top of mind for parents in Charlottesville City, Albemarle County, a lot of public schools. Transgender, curriculum, teachers quitting, transportation's issue, and violence in and around the school. Okay? Those 5 topics right there are directly impacted by school board leadership. And Albemarle County has 4 spots that is up for re-election next year on the school board. 4 of 7. Scottsville District, Whitehall, Rivanna, and the at-large seat are all up for re-election. That is significant. Supervisors, 3 spots up for re-election. Whitehall, Rivanna, and Scottsville. And Charlottesville City Council has 3 spots of 6 up for re-election. Mayor Lloyd Snook has said on the show he will run for re-election. We do not expect Sina McGill to run. I do expect that Michael Payne is weighing his options and may consider either a run for re-election on council or maybe a push for state delegate, Michael Payne. So 3 spots of 6 on council. And you have a lot of local issues. I just rattled off the 5 the top of mind issues for schools. You got a lot of local issues from a non-school standpoint as well. Non-school issues in both Albemarle County and City of Charlottesville. Both are going to raise the real estate tax rate. Both Albemarle County and Charlottesville City will raise the real estate tax rate, making the taxes on our house more expensive. They will do that. That's an issue that should be followed. We talked yesterday about economic development, and I asked you the question, what economic development has Charlottesville City and Albemarle County done? Keith Smith on Real Talk this morning highlighted broadband and the push for broadband, especially in Albemarle County, and I think that is impactful for economic development because, as Keith said, it lays the groundwork for economic development. But from a recruiting a company standpoint, we struggle to think of something in the last 5 years. And from a tax incentive to drive development standpoint, we've struggled to think of something in the last 5 years. I think that's another topic that'll be front and center is economic development and how you alleviate the pressure of residential owned real estate from a tax standpoint, from a tax burden. You know, I think eventually Albemarle County should be asking itself what it's going to do with Biscuit Run Park. Should probably utilize that park eventually. That's another hot topic. So a lot, you'll see the next year very important elections at times of uncertainty for voters or times of financial hardship for voters. And when you have educational uncertainty combined with financial hardship and then combined with Trump making this announcement, I think you'll see a more engaged constituency than perhaps past off years. One man's take. I don't know if you want to add anything before we get off this topic and head to Carol Thorpe's comment, Judah Wickower.
No.
Okay. Yesterday we talked about Dr. Rochelle Brackney's tweet from a few days ago where she was showing video or tweeting video of a former Charlottesville police officer who was in Charlottesville police uniform doing some kind of video on social media, and it wasn't a good look for him. It was it just wasn't a professional look. But she tweeted this in a way where it was almost like threat, saying, "Look what I'm posting now. This makes you look terrible, and more to come." I thought the video, while unprofessional, wasn't it wasn't truly a damning video for the police department. I didn't really think it was over the top. It wasn't anything criminal or anything bad like that. And in the process of talking about this yesterday, Carol Thorpe, commented, she's the queen of Jack Jewett, and she said, because I was saying Brackney was on the short list for the Minneapolis, I always mess that up.
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Us.
Minneapolis. Thank you,
There
Jim.
you go.
She was on the short list for the Minneapolis police chief job,
Yep.
and she didn't get it. And I said, well, maybe if she wasn't trying to air the dirty laundry of her former employer,
She may have looked.
she
better.
may have gotten better and looked better on paper and could have gotten this job. And Carol Thorpe said, and it was a good comment, I think that she's applying for these jobs not to necessarily get the jobs, but to justify her lawsuit against the city, saying, you've tarnished my rep from getting future work, which is the essence of her lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I think it's a strong comment by Carol. I was shocked that Brackney made it to the short list of 3 potential candidates for that job. She didn't last very long here. In her time that she was here, her only true time as a police chief of a jurisdiction, there was a lot of issues.
Yeah, but I think she was hired here with some expectation
Progressive policing expectations.
She came in as a reformer, right?
Yeah, progressive policing. Yeah, like reforming, progressive, in that category.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
know
it
that-
was more riddled with, what do you remember of her time here? I mean, insubordination, leadership issues, massive drop in hired staff. She had the issue with the church deacon or the church minister.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, she came in at a rough time. Clearly had some headwind to whatever she was trying to accomplish here. And, she was also applying to, wasn't she applying somewhere in Texas at the same time she was working here?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah. So
So we know of 2.
right. So
2
I'm
that
just
she
saying
pursued.
that,
She pursued the Dallas job while still on the clock at Charlottesville. And she pursued the Minneapolis job while in an active lawsuit for wrongful termination with Charlottesville.
yeah.
Neither did she get.
Right.
So it's a curious comment, and it resonated with me. Is this a ploy to strengthen her case that she's now
Yeah. Setting
professionally damaged goods?
setting a foundation for damages.
Right. Thought it was an interesting comment. I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
And how she presented it it just resonated with me. I want to talk one more topic here. A shorter show today because I have a client meeting at 1:15. The World Cup starts on November 20th. That is in 11 days, less than 11 days, and it runs to December 18th. This is every 4 years. The World Cup is on the same playing field as March Madness, the NCAA men's basketball tournament, for driving patron engagement to venues that are set up for sports viewing. So if your restaurant or a business in town has TVs for sports viewing, you have a month before Christmas, November 20th to December 18th for the World Cup, where I think you're going to be pretty busy. Off the top of your head, Judah, viewers and listeners as well, best places to view the World Cup. I'll say this again. I saw the TV at 3 Notch that they just installed.
I was just going to mention that.
Do you have it on social media?
Picture of it? I don't know. Let me see if I can find one.
You saw it.
I saw it yesterday. That thing is enormous.
It's the biggest TV I've ever seen.
It's taller than I am.
It's an aggregation of a bunch of different panels, but it's the biggest TV I've ever seen. I don't know if there's something on their social media. And they also have a lot of other TVs in there. That's a fantastic spot for viewing the World Cup. I would have thought and Draft is working as hard as possible to open Draft Tap Room. But goodness, if you're Draft Tap Room and you had the business open before the World Cup, you would be standing room only on the downtown mall. Because if you think about it, where can you watch sports on the downtown mall? Citizen Burger Bar. And then Jack Brown's, I think Jack Brown's has one TV, right? Where in the downtown mall can you watch sports right now? Draft Tap Room is not open right now. You have Citizen Burger Bar.
Not a lot of places.
Where can you watch the World Cup? You think of any? I think Jack Brown's has one TV.
And that's a tiny little spot.
It's a tiny,
as well.
and it's a tiny TV as well. It's a tiny TV. So there's my point there. I mean, take Midtown. I'd say Peloton's pretty close to Midtown, Peloton Station. Got TVs for watching there. But you don't really have any spots on West Main with TVs.
No.
Can you think of any now that Wild Wing Cafe's closed?
No.
The Devil's Backbone has not opened in the Hardywood location. Where on West Main Street can you watch the World Cup? Anyone? Right? Tough to find, right?
No
Dairy
doubt.
Market has got some setups for TV viewing. They've added TVs. Dairy Market's a good spot to watch the World Cup. You got multiple spots on the UVA corner. Fitzroy, how many TVs at the Fitzroy, Scotty Airworth? Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach watching the show. How many TVs at the Fitzroy? Viewers and listeners who know, how many there? Is it 2 at the Fitzroy? The corner's got obvious spots where you can do it. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, I did see, thank you JBT, Janice Boyce Trevelyan for commenting. I did see that Dino's is opening up at Pro Renata. That's brilliant. Dino's is also opening another food stall on Dairy Market. So Dino
Hacha.
What is it?
Hacha.
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 Hacha. Dino Hacha.
Yeah.
He's expanding. This pizza's good.
Yeah.
It's very good. My wife and I had it recently. It's very good. The spots that have the TV setups are going to boom. The restaurants that have space for the TVs, maybe you consider even renting TVs through the end of the year, or getting some kind of like partnership with like a Crutchfield or I don't know, someone that can help set them up for you, because they will drive business. And I just explained down West Main Street on the downtown mall into Belmont, there's not that many places where you have TV viewing for what is a 1 month plus event in a town that's very pro soccer, that is very engaged when it comes to the sport. It happens once every 4 years. It's on the same level of patron engagement as March Madness. So you have a month of opportunity here if you're a restaurant to capture business if you can set up some viewing infrastructure for soccer fans. And there's really not in the city of Charlottesville that many opportunities to watch sports in restaurants. Albemarle County's got a few. I mean, Lazy Parrot, Pro Renata. What are the spots in Albemarle County? Even Albemarle County doesn't have that much. Moe's on Ivy Road has a few TVs. Vivace has a couple TVs on Ivy Road. They're not that many.
No.
They're not for a town that has a college. I would say Virginia's athletic department is well-rounded with sports. Yes, football could be better. But there's an ACC team in the town. There's not that many sports viewing setups in this area.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's missing from Charlottesville.
Kevin says Boylan Heights, Mellow Mushroom, Timberwood, 5th Street Station. Juan Sarmiento says Guadalajara. Something I observed. All right, that's the Wednesday edition of the show. We will be back tomorrow. You have today, mañana at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow. And And then we have the I Love Seville show at 12:30 tomorrow. It's the Marine Corps' birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
Marine Corps' birthday tomorrow. And it's Veterans Day on Friday. So we stand by our servicemen and women on the I Love Seville network. So early happy birthday to the Marines, and Veterans Day on Friday, which we will celebrate as well. Thank you kindly for joining us, a Wednesday edition of the I Love Seville show. Take care, everyone.